When you look up at the solar system's most recognizable planet, you see a majestic, eternal crown. It looks like a massive, heavy sphere anchored permanently in the dark space around it. But almost everything your earthly intuition tells you about this object is a lie. That heavy, solid-looking exterior is a beautiful facade. What you are actually looking at is a massive cosmic illusion. Underneath those golden bands and sprawling rings is a world hiding extreme, counterintuitive physics. To understand how this gas giant operates, we have to strip away the visual lies and examine the bizarre reality churning underneath. At first glance, this giant is roughly 9 times wider than Earth. But if you strip away the exterior, you find almost zero solid mass, just lightweight hydrogen and helium. Charting planetary density, Saturn's fluffy gas drops it completely below the liquid water baseline. So if you were to drop the second largest planet in our solar system into a hypothetically massive bathtub, it wouldn't plunge to the bottom. It would safely bob right on the surface like a colossal beach ball. The deception continues with those famous rings. They look like thick, chunky bands of matter stretching hundreds of thousands of miles across space. Their horizontal width is enormous, but their vertical depth is a complete paradox. In most places, they are only about 30 feet thick. To understand that dimensional ratio, if you shrank Saturn down until its entire diameter matched a standard house, those sprawling rings wouldn't just be thin, they would be proportionally thinner than a single sheet of paper. And that delicate structure is a relatively recent addition. While Saturn itself is over 4 billion years old, the rings are shockingly young, likely only around 100 million years old. That means dinosaurs were walking around on Earth before Saturn even had its halo. Those icy particles are currently locked in a constant tug of war against the planet's massive gravitational pull. Eventually, gravity overcomes their horizontal orbital speed, and countless chunks are dragged straight out of their perfect orbits and pulled down to burn up in the upper atmosphere. Spacecraft measurements confirm this steady drain is actively emptying the entire structure. At the current rate of particle loss, completely bare in a few 100 million years. If you travel up to the planet's north pole, you find another feature that breaks our understanding of physics. According to the basic rules of fluid dynamics, massive gas storms should swirl in chaotic circular patterns. Yet spinning right at the top of the world is a giant, perfectly rigid hexagon. It is a deeply unnatural-looking pattern where high-speed planetary jet streams violently bend into perfectly straight edges and sharp corners. This diagram maps the exact geometric borders of that storm. If you drop a scale model of Earth along just one side of the pattern, you can see that a single straight edge of this rigid polygon is actually wider than our entire home planet. Unlike the short-lived hurricanes we experience on Earth, this enormous, mathematically rigid shape has spun continuously for decades. It completely defies our natural expectations of how fluids behave in the wild. Far out in Saturn's massive orbital system, its largest moon, Titan, hides completely under a thick, hazy orange atmosphere. It is the only other place in the entire solar system with stable surface liquids, rushing rivers, and dense clouds. But the environment drops hundreds of degrees below zero. At those extremes, actual water freezes so solid it acts as the literal bedrock, forming jagged valleys and deep impact craters out of solid ice. Because the surface is so intensely cold, gases that would normally float away on Earth get compressed down into stable flowing liquids. Methane and ethane fall as toxic rain and collect into heavy rivers, carving their way through that solid water ice bedrock. You have evaporation, dense alien clouds, and heavy precipitation. It is a completely active, familiar weather cycle, but it is running entirely on highly flammable alien chemistry. From a massive gaseous body that would float on water to a rigid geometric storm and moons with rushing methane rivers, the Saturnian system proves that our earthly intuition completely fails in the wider cosmos. Even that gorgeous icy halo is actively falling apart in a steady rain of decaying particles, reminding us that the universe is a highly dynamic machine rather than a static painting hung up for our viewing pleasure. When we look up at the night sky, we are not seeing eternal structures. We are simply capturing a brief, fleeting window in deep cosmic time. Saturn serves as our solar system's greatest illusion. It is a temporary masterpiece of extreme physics, and we happen to be incredibly lucky to witness it before it disappears into the dark.